Welcome back to the Yamaha E483, where we're going to talk about accompaniments. Now, we discussed on the introduction that you must have the accompaniment button on. You must select the accompaniment you want. Well, I'm going to select a piano ballad or a love song, that'll do. And it's got a tempo of 70. And I'm not going to press sync start, I'm just going to start it. I'm going to press A because I want the A section. The A backing. So just pressing single finger, when you've got it set to multi-finger as we discussed in the first video, will give you the chord of C. Pressing F will give me the chord of F. Pressing G will give me the chord of G. So I'm getting the major chords simply by just pressing the single note. Now, if I wanted to do a minor chord, I would either have to finger that chord out the same way we did with the right hand. So for A minor, or if I want to use a single finger, well, I can finger it out, look. Or if I want to use what they call single finger, it's not, you've got to remember that Yamaha plays any major chord and the very next black key to the left will give you the minor version of that. So A, and then the black key with it is A minor. You play them together. And for an added bonus, if you press the very next white key at the same time, you'll get the A minor 7. The screen will tell you what chord you're playing. It's coming up with A minor 7, A minor, and A. The same with G. Very next black key with it, G minor, and the very next white key with it, G minor 7. What if I just wanted a 7th on its own, a dominant 7th? Then I would just play the very next white key at the same time, not the black key. So in C, or A, because we was in A, weren't we? So A would give me A, and if I play the very next white key to the left, I get dominant A7. Same with C, C7, F, F7, G, G7. Now, remember I told you in the first video that fingering out would be the best way. It's better for you because you've got full control over the chords if you can finger them all out. But again, you might think it's a waste of time because why would I stretch to do A7 like that when we were just two fingers? But can you see the difference? That is an A7. But look how it sounds if I finger that out. You can do it that way. It's just the same when we were doing the variations, when we were learning to play chords with the right hand. That is A7 and it will sound good in accompaniment. You might ask yourself, does it sound any different on accompaniment? Let's try it. So we'll go A 7th, dominant, dominant 7th. And this time I'll finger it out. No difference. Did you hear that? So when it's actually playing the accompaniment, there is no difference in the sound. It did sound different when I was playing it without it. But not when the accompaniment was playing with all the backing. It sounded exactly the same. So at that point you may say to yourself, why should I finger it out if I can just do that? which is what happens in reality, and you start to learn the chords that you do need to finger out and just concentrate on them. And we'll discuss one of those chords now, and that is a major seventh. Now you can't get that from single finger. You have to finger it out. But there is a little cheat, you don't have to finger all of it out. The chord of C would be there if I was fingering it out myself. I can hear a cat. Right, so no, let's do it in F. F would be there, and an F major 7 would be there, which is doing the F, A, C, if I'm fingering the chords. And then I'm adding the E to get the major 7th. But watch this. If I just play the first two in the triad, the F and the A, and then just add that E, I still get the same thing without that. It's more filling out. But once again, in the accompaniment, you can't tell the difference. We'll prove that. So F, F major 7th. That's fully fingered. F, and now I'm only going to half finger it with just them two. You can't tell the difference. So all I'm doing there really is stopping myself having to press the C and the F, that's 4 fingers, and just doing 3 fingers. Now you can hear the difference there, but not when it's playing. And you can play that whole rhythm then. So that is fingering them out. So let's just recap that. Major chords, just press the single note to get your major chord. Minors, press the very next black key to it. So how would you get C minor then? You're having to skip, but you're still pressing the very next black key to the left. Yes, I skipped and it wasn't right next to it, but it makes no difference. It's the very next black key to the left. What did I get there? I got C7th because it's not a minor, the very next black key. And 7ths, the very next white key. And minor 7ths, the black key, and the very next white key. It don't work there on C because there's a white key here. So that's how you would get it there. It works here where there's no other key between. But where there's a white key and you've jumped to get to the black key, then it's that white key, not that one. So in your love song, you would just play that there. Now remember, you've got A and B here. We're on main A, so I can either just press main B or pressing A again keeps me on A but gives me a little fill. If I want it to go to the B, which is often a different kind of rhythm, I can press the B and get a fill and then the new rhythm. use that for little fills whenever you want. Give yourself a little fill. 2, 3. Or maybe I'm jumping from a verse, a chorus, back to a verse, and I want to go to the other one. I want to go back into the chorus again. Then I want an ending. Now when you get to playing a lot of them and you ending up using the same beat, if you're playing a lot of love songs, you may start to want to keep using love songs as your backing. You may remember to make it sound different by changing some of these. But your endings and your beginnings become boring because all your songs are ending the same. Sometimes you can just have an ending by doing a fill and then stopping it. I'll demonstrate that one. So say we were in B. Stop suddenly, or repress your chord there. I can demonstrate that one. Keeping it on. So that just about covers it. There's a lot more you can do with the fingering. Don't always work, unfortunately, but like a C6, for instance, would be adding the A in. If I were doing it, I'd be going like that. So if we're doing C6, C7 like, that's just C, C6, C major 7, C6, C, C6, C major 7, C6. Can I chord that out like that? I can. Does it sound right with the rhythm? Let's see. It sounds all right. Sounds acceptable, but if you glanced, I don't know if you did, but if you glanced at the screen, you would have seen that C6 came up as an A minor. And it's true, it really is. Does it if I hold all 4 fingers down? Let's see. That's how you do it. Don't make the mistake I just did. If I just move that finger up, I'm only really going to A minor. I still need the G with it. And that just banks out what I said right in the very beginning. Leaving it on multi-finger, it gives you that ability. You're going to see when you're following your songs, they're calling for a chord like a D9 or a D7 or a diminished. They're your ones that you can't do with just single fingers. So C diminished. Oh, sorry. C diminished, just fingering it out. F diminished. B minor, that is. That's not working out. F diminished. Good practice to finger chords out with the left hand, because when you come back to playing without accompaniment, you'll be able to do some chords with your left hand. See it on piano. See, the way I'm teaching you is to do the bass with your left hand. But you can do both. So if you've been practicing your accompaniment by doing multi-finger, you'll get good at doing it when you've got full keyboard. Right, that brings me to the end of this second video. I'll get these 2 videos up online for you. Enjoy.